Welcome to Wealth 360. I'm Dr. Christina Tracy Stein. I'm a clinical sexologist, a professional speaker, published author, and a trainer of aspiring speakers.
I am Margarita Pasos. Welcome. I am a Fortune 500 corporate trainer. I am also a writer, a speaker, and I am a long life learner. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Brian Tracy. In 1981, we designed this program, Wealth 360. We called it the Phoenix Seminar at that time because the phoenix is the bird that consumes itself in flames and lives another 500 years. People who went through this program said that it profoundly changed their lives, especially it made them happier, healthier, better relationships with their members of their family and their company, but also it made them wealthier. Countless graduates of this program have become millionaires, multimillionaires, and 3 billionaires that we know of for sure. You will experience some of the same things as well. You're going to learn how to totally transform your thinking so that you become a new and different person. You actually will achieve results in the coming months and years profoundly greater than anything you've ever done before. And Margarita and Christina are experts on this subject. So the three of us are going to share ideas, almost like a conversation, sort of one-sided, but we're going to be sharing with you the very best ideas we've learned in teaching thousands, and in my case, millions of people. So let us begin, Christina.
Why don't we begin by you telling us, Brian, about this idea that you become what you think about most of the time?
Well, I grew up in a poor family. We didn't have very much money. I didn't graduate from high school. I worked as a laborer. I washed dishes and I worked on farms and ranches. I worked in factories and so on. And then at a certain point in my life, something happened. I began asking, why is it that some people are more successful than others? And of course, I thought there was luck and good fortune and coming from better families and having better education. But I found that most successful people didn't have any of those things. What they did is they had a different way of looking at themselves and life. And they found that successful people think differently from other successful people. And if you do what other successful people do, you will soon get the same results that they do. And so I did. I began to think, first of all, I wanted to have more money. Everybody wants to have more money, so they have more freedom, so they have more choices and so on. And I found that successful people financially think about money most of the time. They think money is a good thing. They think that earning more money by becoming more productive and more valuable and upgrading their skills and starting earlier, working hard and staying later is the key to earning all the money that you want. And so I started to do that. I got up earlier, I worked harder, I worked later, I worked on weekends, and surprise, surprise, my income doubled and tripled and quadrupled. And in 3 or 4 years, I was earning more than I'd ever dreamed possible. I've now taught these ideas to almost 5 million people face to face, and they've become millionaires and multimillionaires and some billionaires. And you can do the same thing because our success rate has been absolutely wonderful. Everywhere in the world, in every culture, in every economy, in every language, people are accomplishing extraordinary things.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're saying is that if you become what you think about most of the time,
Yes.
Then you probably need to have a strong awareness of how you're thinking, because if your thoughts become your reality, what are you thinking, right? What kind of conversations are you having with yourself?
Yes. And that was a big discovery for me to find out that the person that I talk to the most is not my husband, it's not my children, it's myself.
Yes.
And that wherever I go, there I am, right?
Yes.
So I'm with me all day long. And before I started studying people like Brian, who has been one of my biggest mentors, I used to have like an invisible stick. And I was like just hurting me all the time, just saying awful things about me. And once I realized what self-talk was, and I started saying nice things and having like an inner coach instead of an inner critic,
Yes.
my life started changing. And it's said very easily, but it's a discipline and you have to be aware, because it is my understanding that we have over 60,000 thoughts a day. So imagine you're having like radio misery playing here all day and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest game changers for me, was starting to talk to me the way I would talk to my best friend or to one of my children, like, I can do it. Or like Brian says, I like myself, I like myself, I like
and
myself.
also when you're talking to yourself, you're telling yourself the outcomes of things as well, or how you perceive things. So the words we describe our external world with are really going to have an impact on who we become and how successful we are. It's a little bit like the mental diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you eat the right foods and you make sure to drink water to take care of your body, you also have to consume the right kind of information to make sure that your mind is growing healthy and strong with positive thinking. You don't want to watch negative news or things that make you upset or bring in that negative kind of junk that clutters your mind.
The worst thing that happens, and this was a shocker for me because Christina was very young when we first began to learn these ideas. The big shocker is that what parents say to children when they're young and very vulnerable often lasts for 50 years. So what we made the decision to do is never say anything negative to our children. We always are supportive and encouraging and positive and respectful. And the most powerful words you can say to someone else are the words, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. There's no limit to what you can do. Children, when they're young, they're very susceptible to criticism from others. But just tell them that you can do it, that you are really good, you're an amazing person, and you become what you think about. If the most important people in your life are telling you all the time that you're really a good person, you start to believe it. You start to set bigger and higher standards for yourself. You start to set bigger goals. And when you say you can do it, people persist longer and they try different things and they keep working until they achieve wonderful things. And that's what we've learned. We're all parents. We all have beautiful children, and we've practiced these with our children, and it's been a wonderful thing.
It makes me think about, you're saying you can do it you can do it, because so often in our minds we think, I can't do this, I'm afraid to do this. And so to have somebody say, you can do it, to have that external cheerleader as a parent is a really powerful thing. But then to become your own cheerleader when you're afraid, or when you're saying, I can't do this, or what if I'm not good enough, to be like, I can do this, and have that be what you're telling yourself. That's the mental food you're eating. I think that really supports your self-concept.
I always think of the mind like a computer that has two ports. Like you have the USB and the USB-C. So the port number one and the most important is the conversations I have with myself. I can do it, I am amazing, I am unstoppable. But then the second port is what you consume. And there's where I started using the mental diet that Brian teaches.
Yeah.
Because I used to watch the news and I always ask people, tell me if you leave your house super motivated after you watch the news. It's like the most depressing things.
Yeah.
So that's junk food. If you were to eat junk food all day long, you would feel sick. Then what makes you think that if you're eating mental junk all day, you're going to feel motivated, right, Brian?
Yes.